We've got a lay of the land. We know about all these tokens and what they do, generally speaking. But how do we actually start using the framework and start having some fun? Well, bear with me for a second. Let's assume that we have created our character in Character Builder and that we have followed the importing videos and gotten an actual token, as we can see here on the left. This little guy here is a halfling, and his name is Vanny, and he is a sorcerer. So if we click on him and if we look over at his selection panel, we see a bunch of macros here. That's what the buttons are called in Map Tool. And we have three groups of macros, and we're going to break these down for you right now. We have the Macro Police Box group, the Quick group, and the Vanny group. The Macro Police Box group is a system group. That means anybody can do the stuff in here that all these macros are doing. They are not specific to Vanny. For example, if we hover over Common Free No, we see a tooltip pop up which lists all the macros that are under that menu. And that's what these macros are. They are menus. That's the easiest way to think about them. Well, actually, handout to chat is not. That's a quick button. We'll get to that soon. And same with handout to party. But the rest of these here are menus. And if we hover over them, we see tooltips come up, which let us know which macros we can select under that menu. So what you want to do is go through these and, well, maybe not memorize, but get a general idea of what the menu does. For example, Arsenal is obviously going to be about your weapons and your implements. So anything you want to do with your weapon or your implement, this will help you out. And oh, by the way, I just wrote edit current off weapon there. That second one, I just wrote that this week, so that's cool. It answered one of my players. He was saying, "Why do we gotta equip the main weapon and then edit it?" And anyway, so that's what that's for. And if your DM says, "Okay, you are knocked prone, so run the fall macro," we have a problem here because yes, anybody can be knocked prone and they will fall as a result. But we're looking through all these buttons here and we don't see any of them marked fall. So what we can do is hover over, like I said, and these are alphabetized. So choose basic attack, grab. Nope, it's not in there, and it's not going to be an arsenal. We just said that's only about weapons and implements. Let's try common free no. And yes, the first one right there. See how it says fall there? So now we know. We know how to run fall. So we'll click on that. A menu pops up and we see the fall macro and we will say okay. And when you are being proned by somebody else, this will suddenly pop up on your screen. And it's saying you're being knocked prone, number of cubes to ground. Remember how we said that cubes are vertical squares? And if you are on the ground, then you're not going to be falling anywhere, so 0 cubes. So we'll say okay there. And we'll explain that more in the Common Free No video, but it's going to want to know, well, a trigger definition is being set for you for Vanny, and for standing up, stand up, start turn trigger. So when you start your turn, you'll be asked to stand up, and we'll say, yeah, we want to do that. Say okay, and it will register that on you. And we see at the top here, we are given a notice of the effect registration as well as in the chat, and we'll talk about how to interpret that information later. So we get the prone state that we were talking about before, and you say to the DM, well, hey, it's my turn. I want to stand up now. So we once again, we hover over, and just so happens actions in combat. It doesn't say it there, but this is normal. It didn't have a chance to update. So it will do that before you start your turn, and it will show up in that tooltip. But there we go. Stand up. Now, I want to highlight something here. This framework is context sensitive. That means you will only be given the choices which are relative to you at that time. We see stand up in the menu here, but that's only because we are prone. Vanny is prone. If he wasn't, we wouldn't see that in here. That's why it didn't show it in the tooltip. It hadn't updated yet. But again, in a game situation, it will do that. Actually, when you start your turn, it will prompt you to stand up automatically. So we'll say okay. And there we go. The prone state is gone. So we have just learned how to find and run macros. Quick group, we will talk about this next. This is if you say, you know what, all that menus and searching and all that crap, we can do without that. That's not my style. Like, I just want to be able to click one button and do whatever. Like, say I want to adjust my HP. DM says, listen, you took like 7 points of damage from that trap. So you got to do that. So you can just click, not have to go through a menu. The adjust HP macro runs straight away. Enter rumble expression. That just means a die expression like 2d4 plus 3 or whatever. But in this case, it's simple. It's 7. So we'll just say okay there. And we'll learn more about adjust HP and the health menu later. And this is a common set of useful everyday functions that most players need to run. Most important one is end my turn. As soon as you finish doing all your actions, hit that because the next guy after you in initiative is waiting. So that's very important. Make sure that you remember to do that. And you can undo and all kinds of cool things in here. You can speak to other tokens and all that good stuff. And finally, we have the Vanity Group. Now, these are specific only to Vanny. Let's hover over his at will here, and we see he can do Lightning Strike and Stormwalk. Nobody else, well, okay, maybe somebody else. Maybe there's another sorcerer in the party, we don't know. For this purpose, only he can do Lightning Strike and Stormwalk. That's not a general thing the monsters or anybody else can do. It's specific to him. So you shouldn't be looking for Lightning Strike and Stormwalk up here in the macro police box because these functions are for everybody. And there's other good stuff here like class features. That's mostly just informational. And of course, your daily and your encounters too. And he only has one right there. So let me talk a bit about that. You need to understand the way the system prioritizes things. All your daily powers will be under the daily button, of course, except those that are immediates and those that are free no's. There are not many daily powers that are free no's, but if it's a free action or no action, it'll be under there. It won't be under the daily button. And if you have an immediate, look at that. Second chance halfling is there. It's not under the encounter button, which has Whirlwind A boss. The reason why is because we need special processing when we run an immediate power or a free or no power. So that's the reasoning there. And feats you can run for informational purposes too, just like class features and free no. So that's how we interpret all the different functions in your selection panel that you can run to play the game. And we, of course, we will talk about all of these in their individual videos so you understand how those functions, those system functions are used for the macro police box. But that's pretty much the size of it. Monsters, same deal. Click on a monster, the same groups. And this time we'll actually have the monster type instead of the name. So that's that. So now we know how to run macros in the macro police box. Hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching.